Live from San Juan, Puerto Rico, this is the Puerto Rico Business Broadcast. Now, here's your host, Daven Michaels.
Welcome to the broadcast. Today we're talking to amazing entrepreneurs that are doing incredible things on the island. Today we're joined with Kira Golden. Kira, it's great to have you here.
It's great to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kira, tell me your Puerto Rico story. How'd you get here?
Yeah, I've been here a while. I've been here 10 years.
I know, you were an early adopter of the Act 60ers or 2022ers.
Yeah, back when it was 2022.
Yep.
And it's kind of a fun story. I have a girlfriend who she's the CEO of an IRA custodian. Mm-hmm. And she's one of those friends when she calls you and says, how quickly can you get to Puerto Rico? You say, give me a minute, right? Hang up and you call her back and say, I'll be there in 4 hours, right? Okay. So we did that.
All right.
I flew in that next day. And
had you been to Puerto Rico before?
Never. Didn't. Was one of those people who embarrassingly didn't know, do I need a passport?
Yep, I know. I first came to Puerto Rico, I think 25 years ago, not to live, but on a cruise ship. And I don't think I knew it was a part of the U.S. I didn't even know I barely knew it existed, 25 years ago.
It's embarrassing to admit, but I think Puerto Rico's really blossomed, and I've been really grateful to be here. But so I came down, and she's always looking at new ways to innovate in business. Brilliant entrepreneur, and we stayed at what is now the monastery, but that used to be Sharif Medwar's hotel.
Oh, that's right.
So we stayed there with Sharif, and he introduced me to Puerto Rico. Originally, it was an investment structure that he had put in place that we were looking at. And I ended up learning about 2022 and moved down shortly after that. And
that's awesome.
Been here ever since.
and for those of you that don't know who Sharif is, we're supposed to have him on the show. He couldn't find the studio, so we have to get him rescheduled. But I've been on speaking circuit with Sharif for 10, 15 years. He is amazing. He came down to Puerto Rico a long time ago, took a big risk on Puerto Rico, and bought up a lot of Old San Juan, and now he's sort of reaping the benefits of that. Did you end up doing business with Sharif?
We haven't ended up working together directly. We keep kind of dancing back to some real estate. He also has San Francisco-based projects and some other projects, but we haven't quite found where to connect yet.
Got it. So real estate is your gig.
Yeah.
And you're doing all kinds of cool stuff, both on and off island.
Yeah.
And I figured we'd talk about some of those projects because they're all interesting, and I think they're all kind of out of the box. They're pretty cool stuff. So
thank you.
So let's start. I don't know where we should start. Should we start with what you're most excited about?
Well, we've got we cover the island. I mean, we've got Cabo Rojo, Aguadilla, Rio Piedras. I think what I'm most excited about right now is the Aguadilla project.
Okay, so let's talk about Aguadilla. Tell me what you got cooking there.
Yeah, so we bought some industrial warehouse space there. It's Opportunity Zone, of course.
Because 97% of this island is an opportunity zone.
Correct.
Yeah. And for people that might not know what an OZ is, can you explain what that is?
So opportunity zones, the benefit of opportunity zones, in my opinion, in Puerto Rico is that most of the places in the states that qualify as an opportunity zone, meaning a place that's designated and incentivized by tax incentive to invest there, are in the states. Most of them are very challenging areas where you wouldn't invest without the incentive.
Right.
What's beautiful about Puerto Rico is I would have bought this property without the incentive.
Right. I mean, practically the whole island is
100%.
Yeah.
And so, as a philosophical practice, I don't invest for tax incentives. That's not a great approach.
Right. The goal is to try to make it pencil out without the tax incentives.
A good deal anyway.
And then the tax incentives make that the benefit.
Exactly.
And by the way, I know that's the case, but why is that the case? Why wouldn't that be a part of the mix?
That's a great question. Actually, I've been mentoring a young investor.
And I want to guess, by the way, my guess would be that tax incentives don't always pan out.
They definitely don't always pan out. I think federal ones that are legislated are a little more steady. We've got in another sister company, we've got some solar tax credits. Those are well established, but there are certainly other tax incentives that don't pan out, or compliance falls apart, or things like this happen.
So is that the reason why?
Well, no. The core reason why is that some real estate you couldn't pay me to take. You couldn't give it away to me because whether it's environmental issues, eroding lot lines, political issues, it'll end up costing more to own it than it's worth.
Sure.
People don't think about that. They think, if you can get it cheap or you can get it free, it must be a great deal.
Yeah.
Not always.
Okay.
So you want the deal to be solid
on
in its own
merits.
right, on its own foundation. And then building precept upon precept, you can put tax credits and other benefits upon a strong foundation.
Okay, I understand that foundation is kind of a pun there. So, okay, so these are warehouses in Aguadilla.
Industrial warehouse space, yes.
Okay.
It can be used for warehouse. It can be to storage. We're actually building a R&D park center there, so we want to do research and development. Our proximity to the airport's only a couple of miles, and with the development of the cold storage there, it's a really incredible opportunity.
Okay.
So yeah,
so
very excited.
let's walk through the project a little bit because I'm curious about it. So what exists on the property now?
Yeah, so there's a 300,000 square foot vacant warehouse, and then there is space for greenfield development. So we're actually, the project itself is 3 sub-projects. One is a solar microgrid development deal, which will stand on its own with its own investment group. And then there's the real estate, which is the warehouse space that's already there. We're updating the roof and just making some minor adjustments, but otherwise fairly turnkey. And then the road frontage area can meet some of the local needs. So our neighbors are Honeywell and HP, and there's a number of big businesses there. And there's really not a lot of services. If you want to run and grab a Subway sandwich,
Right,
get your
so
hair cut.
a little retailer.
Yeah,
Right.
so we're looking for a partner actually if someone's interested in partnering to develop that frontage area too.
Okay, and so can we talk about the dollars and cents of the project?
Yeah, we're still underwriting some of it, but our target typically, I'll just say this across the board, is to at least double the original investment each year that we're in a project.
Okay.
But because there's 3 separate projects, they're all slightly different. Like the tax credit project is really more about the tax credits and clipping a coupon. So once you build a microgrid, you can get a nice 4 or 5% coupon, but it's very, very stable, right? Especially with energy off-takers that are in the area.
Sure.
On the real estate side, we're typically targeting a 10% cash on cash or cap rate on the cash flow of the asset. And candidly, on the retail space, that's not my zone. So we're looking for a partner who can give us some yield expectations on that.
Interesting. So do you guys own that property now? Or
Yes,
okay, so
we
you
bought
own
it. Actually, it's kind of talking about being here 10 years. I walked that property in 2014. And we passed, and then we went back in 2018, same seller, and at that time it made sense. So we acquired it, I believe early 2019, and did sort of the entitlements, the studies, the surveys, and now we're getting ready to optimize it.
Can I ask what you paid? Is that public? Or?
It's not.
Okay, no problem. I understand. I like to kind of break down these deals. I'm super inquisitive, so I always want to know.
You're
kind of how
always
they work
welcome to ask.
Okay, so now you'll bring in investors in the States as well as Puerto Rico, or just Puerto Rico, or just the States?
Yeah, so as much as possible, we like to leverage investment capital into Puerto Rico, right? That's part of the reason the decrees are in the place,
Absolutely.
right? Bring capital from the outside.
You are a perfect example of bringing, you came on board and you made an investment on Puerto Rico, and it's going to benefit Puerto Rico and your investors and what have you.
Exactly. And so the goal is to leverage, my 20-year investment track record in the States, relationships, both with banks. We brought down 3 different banks that had never done transactions in Puerto Rico before. We educated them about Puerto Rico, the lending market, how to structure deals so that they can lend, because some of the laws here are slightly more complex.
Yeah.
And so they're doing other deals on the island, which I'm proud of. I'm excited about,
totally.
So we bring down both debt partners and then also try to bring down equity capital.
Yeah.
And then we also try to carve out a piece, which is why, for example, we want to partner with local developers for the frontage and all of that. So trying to support local businesses in the actual development and then bring down investment capital to expand the business capacity of Puerto Rico.
Okay. And so the people that invest from, let's say they're in the States, they can take advantage of the opportunities and tax credits, right?
Exactly.
So what does that look like for them?
Yeah.
And their returns?
So it does depend a little on when you invest. There's a evolution, and without getting into all the details, those who invested earliest have the longest timeline where they can earn that money and defer their tax liability. And then,
so let's say they get in at the beginning. What does that look
yeah,
like?
so it's about a 5-year period where you have a complete tax deferral. So you sell something in the States, maybe you sold a property and you don't want to do another 1031 exchange, right? So then you can come down through the opportunity zone invest here, and that continues to defer the taxes. And then somewhere around year 5, you're going to owe a tax liability on the capital gains from that previous investment. But if you hold it for a full 10 years, then my understanding is the full amount becomes tax-free.
Right.
So it kind of gets you out of that 1031 train that a lot of people have been on. So we're finding a lot of real estate investors are drawn to that. The other interesting nuance is that one of the things I love about Puerto Rico is sometimes it's foreign, sometimes it's domestic, right? Our tax code has some interesting nuance to it. So if you're a stateside investor, you've been 1031ing property, you come down under the opportunity zone, you invest here in Puerto Rico, you get the tax-free or tax deferral benefit or both. And then at the end of that, you want to continue investing in real estate. You now have capital that is now qualified under the 1031F exchange, foreign exchange. So now if you want to invest, for example, and do there's a lot of people who are interested right now in adding additional passports to their portfolio. And citizenship by investment is a hot issue. And so now you can take that money and you can 1031F, foreign exchange it into another market outside of the United States and maintain that tax deferral basis outside of the US completely legitimately. Obviously, work with your CPA.
Right, of course.
Verify everything I'm saying, but
that's
it's
really
a great
cool.
strategy.
That's really cool. So let's unpack that for a second. So let's say you have a property that you've just sold in the U.S., and let's say you have $1 million in capital gains, okay? Then you could take $1 million, invest it in your project at the beginning of the project. It would defer off this $1 million in cap gains, and if you took it all the way to the 10-year point, it's a wash. You don't have to pay those taxes.
Correct.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
it's pretty powerful.
So now, let's say that it's a Puerto Rico investor. Can they take advantage of that same thing?
No, they could take advantage of something else.
Now, question, and when I say Puerto Rico, I mean like they're a Puerto Rican
Resident.
Okay,
yeah. Yeah, I presume that.
Not like an Act 60.
Correct. Either way, if you're, well, first of all, Act 60 is open to Puerto Ricans.
Yes.
So it's really important because there's some
that's true.
misinformation
A lot of people think
about
that it's not available.
And
That's right.
it is available,
Yes.
and there's a lot of benefits.
I know.
The other major demographic, if I can get on my soapbox for a minute, is Puerto Ricans who have left or are second or third generation Puerto Rican descent but have grown up in the States.
Okay.
Such a phenomenal opportunity to come back home to Puerto Rico.
Sure.
I feel like that demographic really bridges the gap between our local Boricua and the decree demographic, like people who can come back down and connect with the roots and bring back some new ideas and new excitement.
Yeah.
But whatever group it is, whether it's a local Puerto Rican or a decree holder or whatnot, we do have various, so we try to structure deals in ways that allow people in various situations to take advantage. So if you're a decree holder, interest income from a Puerto Rican sourced borrower is a great tool. So we have that available on all of our various projects. We structure a piece of the capital stack for that. And then mostly for a lot of our locals, it's really about giving them training, business development, and coaching. So for example, our project in Rio, my project manager there works with the local tenants and helps get them connected with SBA loans, business development, coaching and development at no additional cost. Just being a tenant in one of our properties, we want to help them grow their business and be really successful. So a lot of times, it's that old teach a fish or give a fish. We really want to help expand people's capacity locally to be successful in their own right and not depend on us in the future, always coming back for another opportunity. No, we want to help establish you to create your own opportunities.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Kara Golden. Don't go away. As a business owner, the last thing I want to be doing is payroll. Not only do I not want to be doing payroll, but I don't want my staff doing it. Heck, I don't even want my bookkeeper doing my payroll. Why? Because payroll is complicated, it's cumbersome, the liability is high, and if you ever screw it up on the employee side, trust me, they'll never forgive you. That's why I use Easy Checks Caribbean. They make payroll easy, painless, and trouble-free. Here's how it works. My assistant gives Easy Checks the hours.
And that's it. That's all we do. And then the next week, our employees receive their checks, or most of them just receive their direct deposit, and that's it. The taxes, the compliance, the disbursements, the quarterly tax filings. We just give them the hours, and that's it. I love Easy Checks. Visit easycheckspr.com or call 787-379-0241. Mention the broadcast, and the first 3 months are on the house. Whether you have 1 employee or 1,000, Easy Checks Caribbean, making payroll easy for businesses across Puerto Rico. I'd like to share a very cool opportunity with you. Now, do keep in mind this isn't investment advice. You should always consult a professional before investing. I want to tell you about Mondax Group. Mondax provides alternative asset management and retirement solutions. Mondax takes a very patient and rigorous approach to investing, and their mission is to deliver predictable cash flows to their clients backed by strong, high-growth businesses that they invest in. Their private offering, the Axel Fund, is for reserved accredited investors only and pays out a whopping 16% dividend distributed monthly. The fund's underlying assets are independent trucking businesses contracted across the U.S. with a Fortune 50 company. So if you're interested in learning how you, as an accredited investor, can earn 16% potentially tax-free, give Jason Schur a call at 609-937-8064. He'd love to schedule a complimentary face-to-face lunch to show you all the details. For more info, you can visit mondaxgroup.com/Axel-Fund.
Welcome back. We're here with Kira Golden talking about the different projects that you're doing here on the island. Fantastic. We talked about Aguadilla. Yep. Tell me about another project that you're working on.
Well, I mean, we have a lot of other real estate projects. We have one in Rio Piedras that was essentially a vacant and abandoned buildings. On the verge of condemned, if not condemned. And we've assembled them together and rebuilt them and kind of revived that area, which is really exciting. The university that there lost a lot of student housing. And so we've been able to create free market solutions to make sure that there's affordable student housing and affordable housing in the area, which is really important.
So was that a commercial space?
It was individual 5, 10, 15 unit, I call it the mullet of real estate. Not the most attractive term, but
I think I remember you telling me about
commercial downstairs, residential upstairs.
Okay.
And so we assembled a consecutive space because, again, capital markets is one of the biggest challenges Puerto Rico has. And I went and met with the HUD office here, which does exist. There is a HUD office. There are no HUD lenders in it. My understanding, at least as last conversation, is that the Atlanta office is actually the office that services Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And there hadn't been a commercial HUD loan in a very, very long time.
Okay.
And so we're working really hard to, we went and studied their underwriting requirements and crafted a project that kind of goes right into their strike zone to try to incentivize the underwriters to pay attention to Puerto Rico again. Opening up capital like HUD capital, cheap, low interest, long term. Obviously, it's good for our project, but my hope is that it becomes something that people in the island start accessing too.
So let's talk about that for a second. So with HUD, you went, checked out the underwriting, what have you, and then are you going to HUD for a loan, or they just guarantee loans with banks?
Yeah, so the way HUD works, Housing of Urban Development, right? It's a government agency. They work through a HUD-approved lender, a commercial lender.
So it's kind of similar to, it's the same way that SBA works with banks.
Correct. So we've done HUD loans in the States with Grand Bridge and Dwight Capital. Both have been phenomenal partners. And so, we started talking with them and the HUD agency to say, Puerto Rico,
and so how was that conversation? How did that go?
They're open to it because we've done business with them before. We're a known borrower with a track record. And there's some practical constraints and considerations. In general, if an underwriter hasn't done a lot of underwriting in an area, they will look at it more conservatively. So it gets harder to get money. But when you're in a capital constraint market like Puerto Rico, and getting 50% loan to values, then 65 with HUD sounds pretty great, right? So it can be a win-win for both the agency. But to your question, what HUD does is they essentially guarantee the loan. So if you have a residential HUD mortgage, you'll see there's a insurance premium payment that comes out in your monthly payment. Same thing happens on commercial mortgages, and they have a stricter standard. So you get annually audited. They have cash reserve requirements that are higher, which ultimately I think is good. When you're opening up a capital market, it's good to have all those reserves in place to make sure the deals go successfully, because successful deals build confidence and trust, and that brings more investment capital.
Gotcha. So with HUD, you're still kind of in the middle of that conversation.
Yes, we are, both because we have to complete and stabilize the asset for and what they call season. So let it be occupied and build a good rent roll for a period of time. And we started really early. We started like 3 years before we even thought we'd need a loan, so that we can communicate with them, send them the updates, begin to socialize them to the investment opportunity here for the lenders.
And so this new project, is it open already?
It is, yep. There's commercial and residential.
And how many residential units?
Yeah, so we have 7 commercial units. 6 of them, I believe, are leased, 5 or 6. Okay. And then residential, last rent roll I saw, we had 22 occupants. At our max capacity, we can do 100.
Okay.
So
you're still in the process of renting?
Still in the process of renovating, and yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that's why they're not all rented yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they low-cost housing?
Yeah, so I try to stay away from official government
like
subsidized housing, right? So, our goal is to leverage free market to contribute value, not take value.
Government money.
Right.
Okay.
So, obviously tax incentives are compelling. We do them. We have some Section 8 properties, so I don't want to misrepresent that. But as much as possible, we try to stay at free market. So I'll give you an example. For a few years, we were buying homes and renovating them. We got some heat from the local community who thought, you're taking advantage of these properties. But what we explained to people is we're buying homes that require 100% cash to renovate. Local banks aren't going to put up any money.
Right.
A local resident might not be able to swing that kind of capital. So we go in, we put in the cash, we renovate the property, we bring it to the point where Banco Popular, First Bank will make a mortgage on it for
not refi, create the loan.
Yeah, for a what we call a retail buyer, right? And what was so inspiring was that, number one, most of our buyers were neighbors already, right? It was someone who was renting in the neighborhood who now was able to buy a home because we typically tried to sell the property for about 10% under the market appraised value. So they're having instant equity in the property and price it so that the monthly mortgage payment was less than the rent in the area. So, that kind of approach where we say, look, we can leverage free market resources to create value for people. So we did that with single family, and now we're basically trying to scale that up and do that with the multifamily. So in this case, they would be tenants, but we're trying to provide competitive, affordable housing at a high quality of living, standard of living, and stay, typically we try to target about 10% under the competition in the marketplace.
Gotcha. And when you're building these projects too, tell us about, besides the Opportunity Zone, were there other tax incentives that you took advantage of?
So we'll be doing our first Old San Juan project, which we have
tell us about that.
An application that's going to be, I think it technically falls under short-term rental, and that's the tax incentive as well.
So this will be the hospitality tax
incentive.
Which is it 7 bedrooms or 8 bedrooms?
You know what? I don't know.
It's either 7 or 8.
Our lawyer knows.
It's either 7 or 8 bedrooms and bathrooms, and then 40% tax credit over 4 years.
Yes, exactly. And so our objective there, again, I'm very mission driven in what we do. I mean, obviously we have to make money or it doesn't work, but my drive is how do we make impact? So in that case, a couple of things I observed is we have a large unchurched population in Puerto Rico of decree holders who have come down. They were members active of congregations and communities in the States, and they came down and really haven't found a place to belong. And it doesn't have to be about church, but that's a personal passion. But there are a lot of people who come down and are just looking to connect in community. So what we want to do is offer, a place for people to land when they first get down here and get brought up to speed in the various communities, what's happening, where to get plugged in, how to get connected, where there's home study groups or, different congregations. There's a lot of great churches in the area, and people are here 2-3 years before they start to venture out and find them. And so again, that's not a requirement, but that's my driver, right? It's like I want to get people down and get them situated somewhere and get them really plugged in, because I was here 4 years before I think I really made a friend. It just took a while. We were down in Cabo Rojo, though, which probably didn't help either, because we're pretty isolated, and I was having my first kids, and Zika was happening. So I kind of just stayed inside a lot.
Yeah, you had to. So tell us about the property.
Yeah, so it's going to be a multi-unit property. So the bottom level is a local restaurant that's expanding, so we're supporting their expansion. The top level will be a commercial space, overlooks the bay. It's right behind the bank down there in Old San Juan, the large First Bank building. And the interior will be short-term rentals. I think we have 12 units that'll be available for people to come and land and be part of a community down there.
That's cool. And where are you at on that? So you've purchased it?
Yep.
And
so we expect to be fully done with renovation in February.
Okay. And how's the renovations going in Old San Juan? I mean, I know it can be challenging.
Yeah, I mean, we're about a year and a half behind our original schedule, candidly. It's always like a little something. Like in this case, there's an elevator in our building, and getting that elevator to Puerto Rico was a real challenge.
I bet.
But we've got, again, local contractors that are just great. They know the area. They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Do you have to deal with the conservancy? I suppose somebody's keeping the integrity of the buildings.
Yes,
It's
we have
historical, right?
multiple engineering steps at every draw. We're working with a local lender, Acrocent, if I can give a shout out to them. They've been great.
Really?
They actually did a loan on our Aguadilla the Aguadilla project as well. And
That's a commercial lender?
Commercial lender, and one of the things I really appreciate about them is they understand Puerto Rico. So
are they based in Puerto Rico?
They're based here, and they have a working knowledge of how things go. So if I tried to go back to a lender in the States and explain, we had this delay or that delay, it could sound like an excuse.
Right, but these guys get it. They totally understand. Name of the bank again?
Acrocent.
And do they do residential as well, or is it just
commercial? The commercial. I believe their minimum loan amount is $1 million.
Okay.
So you could do perhaps large commercial property or large residential, but it's mostly commercial. And they're bridge financing to help get to that stabilized long term.
Got it. And then once the project is done, who will be your banking partner for?
Yeah, we haven't actually identified that yet.
Who would you go to, like the big banks here? Or
yeah, I mean,
Banco,
so I
First
bank
Bank?
with Banesco. I really appreciate them. They've been
I don't really know
phenomenal.
Banesco.
So their only downside is they only have one branch, and it's in San Juan.
Is it a credit union or a?
No, it's a bank. I believe it's not. I don't think it's Puerto Rican capital behind it. But like all the Puerto Rican banks, they're a federally chartered bank. Their main office is in Miami, but they have a branch with a phenomenal team.
Wow.
Team here.
Banesco, Banesco.
But yeah. Banesco.
Okay.
Ben, Banesco.
Banesco.
Yeah, but yeah, they've been great. So we'll go to them to see about doing a takeout loan. First Bank has done some debt for us. I own a few different businesses, and so we work with each of the major banks here, and kind of keep one business in each vertical, just to keep the relationships.
Are the First Bank loans serviced by Oriental?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Got you. And so, so that project will take advantage of the Hospitality Act. And the Hospitality Act, basically, if you have enough bedrooms and bathrooms, you'll get a 40% tax credit, and you can sell that tax credit, right?
Yes, they're liquid.
98 cents on the
Yeah,
dollar.
you hear different numbers. I mean, we pro forma 80 cents just to be conservative, but I think people are getting higher than that. And that's another place where, again, we can attract capital from the states. We have some investors that have come down, put money in up front, knowing that in 3-4 years they'll get the tax credit piece, because that's a value to them. And there's different tax credit components. You've got Puerto Rico tax credits, right? So in that case, that's a Puerto Rico tax credit. It's not applicable to someone who doesn't have Puerto Rico
Somebody in
income.
Puerto Rico is buying it, yeah.
And then you've got other tax credits that have both federal and Puerto Rico components that can be used to attract more investment capital.
Right. Phenomenal. Tell us about one more project.
Another real estate project? Or
one more real estate project, and then we'll move on to,
so we have another real estate project, and this one's actually in the States, but I'm going to use it as an example of how we can do stuff in the States that also benefits Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So we just closed on a 152 or 58 unit apartment building in Ohio, and that is structured in two parts. There's a Puerto Rico entity that is a member, and then there are stateside investors that are members.
Okay.
So for the stateside investors, let's just talk, as I talked about, the foundation, the fundamentals. So forget all the tax incentives and all of that. The foundation is 99% occupied, right next to the university. It is not student housing, but we have a great demand of staff, teachers, et cetera, for tenants from there. And we stepped into a 3.25% mortgage.
Great.
So we've been doing a lot of assumptions and subject tos on multifamily to be able to hold on to those longer rate. Yeah. So those are some of the fundamentals. Then, as I mentioned, we structure it in a way that also has a Puerto Rican aspect. So if you are a Puerto Rican investor who wants exposure to stateside real estate, but wants to keep that Puerto Rican sourced income, you could come in as a lender to the Puerto Rican member, make a loan to a Puerto Rican borrower, who the beneficial interest is here in Puerto Rico, and then receive the interest tax benefit on it.
That's very cool.
Again, it's trying to build bridges between stateside and Puerto Rico. The more we can connect and help each other, the more successful everyone's going to be.
I love it. So we're here with Kara Golden. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
I don't know about you, but as a small business owner, I'm super picky about who's going to be keeping track of my money. A good accountant is an asset to your business, but a great accountant is worth their weight in gold. A good accountant does your books and taxes. A great accountant becomes a trusted partner in your business. So what's important? Knowledge, expertise, communication, speed, and accessibility. If I can text or call my accountant when I need him, and he either picks up my call or texts me right back, that is gold. And that's what I get with Louis Lamba at HLB Puerto Rico. I can always reach Louis when I need him, and that is gold. If I have a problem, challenge, or question, Louis has a solution. And if I need more resources, I can plug into the HLB network of over 400 independent firms worldwide. I don't mind saying it. In my opinion, Louis Lamba is the best accountant on the island. If you want to work with someone that you can communicate with easily, that understands your needs and works like a partner in your business, call or text Louis Lamba now at 787-646-1710 or visit hlbpr.com. Mention the broadcast and get a free consultation and save 10%. HLB Puerto Rico, committed to your success. Investing and philanthropy, two things that are very close to my heart. You know, they seem worlds apart, right? But imagine this. What if you could blend them seamlessly into one? Well, guess what? You can with Philanthro Investors. They're not just merging the worlds of giving and investing. They're pioneers linking passionate philanthropists and socially responsible investors with game-changing enterprises. How awesome is that? Doing good while doing well for others. Ready to learn more? Head over to philanthroinvestors.com or call 727-337-7729. Mention the broadcast to receive their special white glove service only available to our listeners. Philanthro Investors, shaping a better world one investment at a time.
And we're back with Kira Golden talking about awesome projects that people are doing here on the island. So you had mentioned to me before we did the interview here about a solar project that you're involved in.
Yes.
Let's hear about that.
Yeah, so that is one of our sister companies based out of Colorado. They have created, it's not even a solar project, it's a turnkey become a solar company, right? So investors who come in who are looking for tax credits, the minimum to qualify is you have to have $150,000 tax liability. So this isn't for, everybody, but if you have at least $150,000 US tax liability, we've created a solution that allows investors to set up their own tax solar company. So you're not putting solar on your roof, you're not investing directly in a tax credit project, it's being the tax solar company and getting the tax benefits from that. And right now we're making a big push on this because between now and the end of the year, there's an overlap of Trump tax credits and Biden tax credits that will allow people to have the maximum benefit. So this will still be valuable in January, but it's a lot more valuable right now. Yeah.
So what are the mechanics? So let's say I've got a tax liability. You create a solar company for me, and then I presume we have to go out there and close deals, right?
We take care of all of that.
So somebody is closing those deals.
So the deals are already done. They're in the pipeline. So basically someone's coming in and stepping in the middle. And we do the whole setup turnkey, setting up the entities, the LLCs, all of that. So
interesting. What's the name of that company or that project?
Yeah, so WD Wealth Strategies is the name of the company. They're a national tax expert. So that's just one of 300 individual tax strategies that are available to investors. And me coming up in the real estate space, I found them because I was looking for other ways to structure my stateside deals, the tax advantage, tax strategically, and ended up buying into the company because I was just so impressed with what they could do.
Interesting. All right, we still have a little more time. Is there another project you want to fill us in on?
Well, I'm actually really excited. The last couple of years, I've been transitioning from buying and fixing up real estate to buying and expanding companies. And so I've been working with a number of incredibly high-level business coaches, and so I'll be speaking at the Zone event with Shanda Supner.
That's right.
At the end of November.
Now, Shandy is another
Puerto Rican
Act 60er that lives here on the island, and the event is where and when?
That's a great question.
Okay. It's in the States, I know that.
It's in the States, yeah. I should have looked that up before I mentioned it.
We'll put it in the show
We can put it in there,
so people know.
No, it's I think the 25th through the 27th, and it's in the States. So yeah, we'll be up there, and it's Shanda's event. She's just a phenomenal business coach, but we're going to be bringing a real estate aspect to that too, because as people grow their businesses and become more successful, then they need to put that money somewhere and transition into the passive legacy building component of it.
That's cool. Do you have any idea how many people she's going to have out there?
I think we're expecting a little over 2,000.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
She has a great audience.
Yeah. Well, I met with a lot of business coaches to look at who to partner with before we made this decision, and she brings a lot of integrity to what she does. And so that.
So you're already working with her.
We actually our kids pot up together for school. I just really instantly connected.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's awesome. All right, well, I think we've covered a lot today, a lot to unpack, and there's just so many amazing incentives and programs that are available here in Puerto Rico, and the word is starting to get out on Puerto Rico, and that's what we want. So very exciting. Yeah.
Well, and the incentives are great, but I want to remind people the fundamentals are what drive it, and the fundamentals are really good too.
They are. Yeah, Puerto Rico is an amazing place to invest in, and I want to thank our guest Kira Golden for being with us here today on the broadcast. And if you enjoy the broadcast, make sure to give us a review and subscribe. And until next time, this is Daven Michaels. Live your true life adventure. See you soon.